This week we're coming to you from Sedona, Arizona.
Is this a town where you can come with an RV and see some incredible things?
Well, maybe. We have 11 tips for venturing into Sedona with an RV.
Yep. It's actually a pretty great place to be. So join us as we adventure into this incredibly scenic town. Oh, I'm Tony.
Oh, yeah, I'm Peggy. That's what's next.
As you can tell, we've changed the format just a wee bit.
And we're still messing around with it, trying to figure it out.
Yeah, that's what we do. 5 years of doing this. And
That's
there's
right.
a bird.
There's some great birds because we're outside, so why not?
Yeah.
Birds belong outside.
Okay.
But we are two RV industry veterans.
We are, who travel part-time. Well, not right now, but
and
we do
sometimes
own
in a small trailer. Right now we're traveling in just our Ram truck and hanging out with family in Sedona, Arizona in a timeshare.
Yeah. Well, I am off my game, but it is what it is.
So let's go back. We are two RV industry veterans who travel part-time, usually in a small trailer.
Right, and looking to share big adventures and tips, tricks, and ideas and destinations. And discounts, too.
And discounts, too.
Those birds are throwing me off.
Have we ever done this before?
Only 5 years worth.
So about 5 years ago,
Yes.
or 9 weeks minus 9 weeks from 5 years ago, we did an episode on boondocking, and we did talk a little bit about things to do in Sedona because we had just visited. But this week we're going to talk a lot more about Sedona. But you said you were listening to that old episode about boondocking.
It was interesting. I mean, in those days, so what we used to do when we had our first Rockwood Mini Light is we had an 80-watt Go Power Duralite solar panel, and it was one of those folding panels, and that was all we had, that and 2 golf cart batteries, respectively. And we thought we were hot potatoes because we could run the heater at night, and we could, it was the propane electric fridge, and it worked out okay.
Sure.
But on cloudy days, those portable panels had to be brought in.
Yeah.
So then it was like, oh, now what?
And we were pretty limited in our amount of battery that we even had.
Oh boy, were we ever. Well, 2 basically golf cart batteries.
Yeah.
Now what we have, if you don't know, is the power package that was put together with ABC Upfitters and Rockwood/Flagstaff. Hey, we're in Arizona. Flagstaff.
Oh, like Flagstaff.
Yeah. But anyway, and it's a system that has, ours has 400 amp hour lithium battery, 1,000 watts of solar, a 3,000 watt inverter, and we can run the air conditioner now we have a 12 volt fridge. It compensates for that.
Yep.
We don't really worry about power so much anymore.
No, never.
And it's incredible how good these systems have become. And we're very fortunate, as you longtime listeners would know, that we have partnered with ABC Upfitters because they're the ones who actually designed this power package for Rockwood.
Right.
And they actually design a number of these complete systems for RV manufacturers because the RV manufacturers recognize that ABC Upfitters uses master volt systems, which means that the charge controller and the battery and the inverter and all of that work together seamlessly. And if there ever is a problem, and I actually don't know anybody who's had one, but if there is one, it's not finger pointing.
Right.
It's basically one company that manufactures all the pieces. And then the way ABC Upfitters works is they step in and then they ask a bunch of questions. Do you spend a lot of time off the grid? Are you just looking to have a system that keeps the fridge running? What is your objective? And then they can choose from the size of components to make that happen without having to worry about it. Because one of the things I like about this system is it just works. And there's everything from drop-in battery placements to complete systems where you can run multiple air conditioners. I mean, you tell them what you want, and they'll make it happen. And they have actual engineers on staff that will design these systems so that they work properly and fit properly in your RV. And they're just good people who speak. They'll answer your questions
in plain English.
In plain English,
things
which
even
is
I
awesome.
can understand.
So if that's the way you want this to work, give them a call at 574-333-3225.
That's 574-333-3225, and it will be in those show notes. I still don't know where you put them, but
it depends on the
wherever
platform.
show notes show up on the screen or in the show notes on our website.
Well, and they also now have a brand new shiny website. So we'll put a link to that too, and it answers a bunch of your questions. But the best way is to just talk to Scott, Ben, and all the people, Stacy, all the people there. They're just good people.
Yeah.
So that's the deal. So Sedona.
Yes, Sedona. We have brought our travel trailer here before. We have RV'd here, and there are some things we're going to talk about RV specific, but also, when you're here and you're in an RV park and you can go see the whole rest of Sedona, that's kind of what we're going to talk about, all the things you can do while you're RVing in Sedona.
Yeah, but we have stayed at the Rancho Sedona RV Park, and it's a really pleasant place right on a creek there. You can walk down into the creek. Mm-hmm. The sites are nice. I believe they have full hookups, and it's just a nice little RV park that we have enjoyed in the past, and we anticipate coming back. We've been to Sedona a number of times,
yeah.
And just really... We like it here. There's something about this place that keeps bringing us back.
Maybe it's the vortexes.
Or vortices.
We'll talk about those in a minute. But yeah, so that park is a little bit off the main drag, which is nice. It's nice and quiet. You could probably walk to that main drag. We're, not really long walkers.
Or if you brought your e-bike, I'm sure.
E-bikes would probably be a great way to get into town, and then you don't have to worry so much about parking.
Yeah, I think that might even be the best solution. Well, depending on you, obviously.
Right.
But, you camp at Rancho Sedona RV Park and then hop on your e-bike.
Yeah.
And the main stuff is close enough that would actually be a really good solution, even if you're lazy like me.
So one of the places you can visit is called Tlaquepaque. And
Tlaquepaque.
So apparently it's named after a city in Mexico.
It's actually near Guadalajara.
Guadalajara, okay. So anyway, it's not a Sedona made up name. And it is pretty much a shopping center / village, but it's very high end. It's very artsy. It's beautiful, beautiful gallery work and lots of really artistic things that you can buy. We just like to look at all the art that we'll never probably buy.
Yeah, I mean, we don't really have room for bronze tigers.
Any kind of, and the bronze, yeah. There's paintings, there's crafts, there's a lot of statuary, bronze statues and things like that.
Yeah, all over town. There's in this Tlaquepaque, there are places you can buy fancy bronze statues and other things. I mean, there's paintings and crafts and Native American crafts. And so apparently the history of this place is 50 years ago, this dude built this place kind of with the nod toward Tlaquepaque and Guadalajara or outside of Guadalajara. And it's very authentic looking in how it was designed. There's a church in there and there's restaurants. And
you said he hired people to do the construction that weren't necessarily in construction?
Yeah, it was more kind of meant to look rustic or rural, like you'd see in an old Mexican village.
Okay.
And, like near Tlaquepaque. So
it's really cool to walk around. It's a kind of a 2-story. A lot of it's 2 stories, and shops up and down, and a lot of galleries, like I said. And then there's like a toy store, and there's some clothing stores, and eateries, and coffee, and just all kinds of things. Really fun to just wander around and
there's live music, and truly from that Rancho Sedona RV park, you could easily walk that.
Sure.
It's not that far. By the way, another thing about Rancho Sedona, really quickly, it's up this road, and you're driving, and you're like, "There's no way there's an RV park up here," but it's up there.
Don't get too discouraged because it is a kind of a small road. It's not off the freeway. It's off a little road. Yeah.
So another way to see town, which we've done before, is the Red Rock Magic Trolley.
Oh,
I have trouble saying that. But.
That's a lot of words. We love those red trolleys or red buses or whatever will get you around all over town in any new city that we go to, big city that has something like that. We like to get on there the first day and like ride around and get shown all the different parts of what's interesting around the towns. And then we can kind of take notes and say, okay, tomorrow we're going to get in the truck and we're going to go visit this is more, see these more in depth.
Yeah.
But those trolleys and buses and stuff are so informative and so great. And when we took that, was a whole bunch of my family was there.
Yeah, that
practically filled the bus up. So that was a lot of fun to also be like hanging out with our family and have all those inside jokes. And
but like when we went to New Orleans, we took the red bus or the double-decker bus, and I don't know. I think that's a neat intro to the city, and then you're like, "Oh, I want to see that, or I want to see that."
That's my recommendation whenever you're in a new city, is to see if they have some kind of a tour bus around town.
Another thing, one of the places you'll end up. So Tlaquepaque is its own area, but then there's the downtown, and it's, I don't know what, 4 or 6 blocks long, whatever.
Something like that, yeah.
And it truly is an open air shopping center. I mean, Sedona has developed to the point where it's a lot of tourism focused stuff. And you could either come here for the natural beauty, and nobody would ever blame you for that.
Yeah.
Or you could come here for the touristy stuff, or a mixture of both.
Sure.
But it's become very popular because of that. But anyway, downtown is like this whole walking area with, again, more of those shops. A little bit not as high-end as Tlaquepaque.
Sure. I mean, it's still a very touristy area, so you're not finding bargain basements here.
No. But you can get shirts dyed. So the geology here is a lot of red rock, and there's shirts dyed with those red rock, with that red rock, and you know. So if you want a souvenir, there's plenty of that.
Certainly,
and more statues,
more ice cream and coffee and pie and.
So, let's talk. So, unfortunately for food, we could talk a little bit about that, but because of the way Peggy's family travels, they make a lot of the food.
Right.
And so we haven't gone out as much, although we've gone out some.
We've gone out some, and we've gone out in the past when we've just been the two of us or whatever, and we've gone to a few different places. And even when we're always together at home for dinner, there's still lunch, there's still breakfast, there's still coffee, there's still
breweries,
ice cream, there's still breweries, there's still lunch, you know. So we still get a chance to get out there and kind of see what the city has to offer. And one of our favorites is the Black Cow Cafe.
Yeah.
They make their own pies, and they've been famous for pies forever. And they make their own ice cream. And so we got so entranced with the ice cream, I think, last time we were there.
We've never eaten pie there.
We didn't eat pie because we were like, let's go for the pie. And they were like, oh, ice cream. And we forgot to get pie. So maybe that's what we'll do this afternoon.
Oh, I'm all in on that. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yesterday.
Yeah, that's the thing. So something I want to say about the food recommendations. I listened to our previous podcast. It was like episode 7.
Yeah, 7. That was a long time ago.
And places that we liked then, I've found a lot of the places that were here the last time we were here and the previous time are just gone. It seems there's a fair amount of turnover, but not Black Cow Cafe. That's been here. I don't know. It's been here. It's one of those landmark businesses. And then the next one, the Coffee Pot.
The Coffee Pot restaurant. That's right. So they are the home of 101 omelets. I almost said waffles. 101 omelets. And so we went there yesterday. My sister Kathy and Tony and I went to went to the coffee pot for breakfast, and we each had a different omelet.
I had a
And
corned beef hash
Tony had
omelet
corned beef hash.
with grits.
I had ham and avocado, and Kathy had crab and avocado.
But
Yes, we had grits for our side dish, which isn't that common, really. So it's great when we find a place with grits. I love it.
The interesting thing, they have the 101 omelets and then a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, full breakfast menu.
Yeah, oh yeah. It's called Coffee Pot because there's all these incredible rock formations here in Sedona, and a lot of them have names like Coffee Pot, which you can see from the Coffee Pot restaurant.
Right. Or my mom's timeshare.
Yeah, that's true. So it kind of is in the shadow of that, so that's why it's called that.
Yeah.
And you drive around and look at these incredible rock formations, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, the rocks are, I mean, just to go, like, have a map that says, this rock looks like Snoopy laying on his back. This rock looks like a lizard's head, and this one looks like a coffee pot. Even just to, like, wander around and look at those rock formations with interesting shapes, or find your own.
Yeah, and then there's
so fun.
A lot of hiking and walking and going to see that. So if you're, as we said, if you're not into the downtown shopping, touristy stuff, that's fine. There's a lot of pure outdoor nature here in Sedona.
Yeah, but to finish off the food segment.
Yeah, so we've been coming here for a few years.
Yeah.
And there's a little teeny hole-in-the-wall brewery called Oak Creek Brewery that we had gone to 2 or 3 times.
Several years ago.
Yeah.
Like, we went in 2004 the first time.
Okay.
So for 20 years.
20 years. Wow, we've been coming here for a long time.
Yeah.
Well, now we're in Tlaquepaque, and they have a full second-story restaurant now.
Oak Creek Brewery and Cafe or Grill. I think it's called Grill.
Yeah.
I think it's called Grill. But anyway, it's a restaurant and brewery. And so we went while we were in Tlaquepaque, kind of like we wanted to see Tlaquepaque, but also we're like, it's going to be lunchtime.
Yeah,
we can go to the brewery for lunch.
Time. And I have to tell you, as a beer aficionado, they had a flight of 7 of their regular.
Yep.
So, like many breweries, they have seasonals and, I don't know, seasonals for lack of a better description, or beers that are only there for a short time. And then they have their core, which there are 7 of those. And honestly, of all the 7, I liked all but one of them.
Yeah.
My measurement is, would I bring this home in a growler or a 6-pack, whatever they happen to have? And I could load a cooler from that brewery. I was really impressed. And that's probably why they've grown so much.
Yeah, and they did a full, like, they weren't all really hoppy. They weren't all not hoppy. There were a couple hoppy ones and a couple very smooth ones and malty ones and lights and darks, and really ran the range of what you can run in 7 different beers.
Yeah,
but
it was,
they
and
were
all of
really
them,
good.
but one were just really hit the mark and were a good example of their type, like the Hefeweizen or Hefeweizen. That was it was a very traditional Bavarian, but with a twist. And so I would go back and drink their beers, as I have. I've been drinking their beers for 20 years.
And also, by the way, we had some food.
Oh, that's right.
We couldn't decide what we wanted, and we didn't want to overeat. We did overeat, but because we couldn't choose, we ended up ordering soft pretzels, which was kind of 3 small soft pretzels, and a quesadilla and chicken wings. And we ate them almost all. We have a little bit of chicken wings left, but we shouldn't have eaten so much. But everything was really tasty.
And there was beer.
The
pretzels weren't the greatest, but they weren't bad. So pretzels should have a kind of a crusty crust.
Well, yeah. They were the wrong texture. But
that's okay. So you went and did something that we have both done in the past.
Yeah.
And Peggy went with some of the members of her family today.
Yeah. So I didn't realize it's like National Cousins Day or something.
Really?
Today. Yeah. And so bunch of my cousins, actually my cousin Jim, my cousin Julie, and my sister Kathy and I, and another friend Missy, went on a Jeep tour. Now, I have to tell you why we chose this specific Jeep tour. There are at least 3 major companies in Sedona that will take you out on tours. And each one of them offers from mild to wild. They'll take you on really nice dirt roads, or they'll take you on pretty medium, or they'll take you on the really intense, fun, like back road or back not road or whatever. Last time we were on the pink Jeeps and we got to climb the rocks and everything.
I so
it was
love
super fun. Well, so yesterday, my cousins Jim and Julie and Missy and my Uncle Russ went on a hike, and they thought it was a couple of miles. Well, it turned out it was like 5 miles. They didn't take enough water. They didn't anticipate that much time and that much heat. And they were really not feeling so great. And Jim said they had about a half a mile left to go, and they weren't sure how they were going to make it. And this Jeep tour leader pulled up and said, "Are you guys okay? Can you make it back?" And they said, "We're not sure." And he said, "Well, do you need some water?" And so, yes. So he gave them water. He put them in the Jeep with the tour that he was already carrying around, and he got them back safely to their car. So, how do you choose a tour company? Well, obviously, if Cowboy Bob is going to stop and pick you up when you're dying from a hike, you want to see Cowboy Bob again.
Yes.
So Cowboy Bob works for Arizona Safari Jeep Tours in Sedona, and we booked a tour with him this morning, and he was so gracious and so wonderful. He's such a good tour guide. He is from 4 generations. Like, he's 4th generation native Sedona resident. Sedona resident. And he knows the whole area, and he knows the vegetation and the history and the animals. And it was very, very informative, very cool experience. We took the mild one, so we did go on dirt roads, but not really off-roading, because we're all getting a little older, and we didn't think we needed to be jostled around very much.
Well, yeah, and so some of the things you did, you went to a vortex.
We did. We got to go to where there's a vortex, and he had divining rods or dowsing rods, and we got to hold the dowsing rods, and he showed us where to walk. And if you've never experienced this and you think it's kind of a bunch of hooey, I'm telling you, like, you hold these rods loosely in your hands, and as you walk, the rods were twisting and turning, and once they got parallel, he said, "Okay, you're right there in the middle of it, so stop and feel it for a second," and then walk out, and the rods would open themselves back up, and we each took a turn doing that, and it was really cool. And I mean, yeah, the rods move for no apparent reason. Now, a lot of people use these actually for finding water. And Bob said he thinks water is probably about 15 feet. And I think that's from just experience and knowing the whole area. I don't think he divines that from how the rods move. But we definitely got to experience a vortex. His philosophy, I don't know if I can really explain it, but it's because of the movement of water and the quartz and the dirt, and that there really is a field of power. So
okay, so since we're talking about the vortex, there are some people who say vortexes, and to me, correct English is vortices.
Correct English is vortices, but I think because a vortex is a phenomenon, an experience or something, they each, I don't know. I don't really know why they do it, but I know a lot of people say vortexes instead, because maybe each one
people
is its
say
own thing.
warsh.
Now stop it.
There's no R in warsh. A hot water heater is not a hot water heater. It's a water heater. You already have water. You just need it to be hot.
You're a non-believer.
In warsh?
In vortexes.
That's true. I like what I can touch. But,
anyway.
But the vortices or vortexes.
Right. So they are thought to be energy centers. And I think there are supposed to be 7 of them in the Sedona area. And there really aren't that many in the world. Like, there's one in Mexico and one in Spain and one in, I don't remember, Egypt or something. So they're not, it's not like there's a vortex on every street corner. But there happen to be a lot of them concentrated here in Sedona, one at the airport. And so anyway, a lot of people come here specifically just to experience the vortexes.
Yeah, and supposedly there's like people come and meditate and they feel inspired and recharged and all of that. Well, Jimmy dropped his phone on a vortex and he said that it got
while he was walking with the dowsing rods.
Oh, okay.
And then he said later, I think it charged my phone. I'm not sure if he even looked, honestly.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
anyway.
it's something we've had friends who are very into the vortexes and all of that.
Yeah.
I'm a little, you know what? Everybody has what they like.
That's right.
That's why there's 31 flavors at the ice cream store.
Yes, exactly.
So,
okay.
Something there's no denying. Slide Rock State Park.
Slide Rock State Park is it's in the creek, Oak Creek. And I don't know if the water itself has caused a slide or if so many people thinking, hey, that looks like a slide, and then all their behinds rubbing on the rock. But there's like a slide, so it's in the creek. So you wait in line nowadays, and you get in line and you wait at the top of the slide, and then you take your turn going down the slide in the creek. Lots of fun. I've, again, been here, for 20 years, and it didn't used to be that crowded. But yesterday we thought, we'll go check that out. And as we drove up to the entrance to the park, there were like 3 park rangers and directing traffic, and there was a big line to get in, and there was a big crowd at the slide, and maybe looking at the slide was something for us, but waiting in that line was not something for us.
So once the parking lot was full, traffic was overflowing onto the street. Then as we drove by, you could see into the Slide Rock. Yeah. And there was a line up the hill, like these people were, giving away free gold bars. So we did not go in. I mean, I guess I'm going to take the opportunity to say Sedona, well, it is the 4th of July weekend. So do you know that?
Yeah. Well, next week is really. But.
Okay. But whatever.
It's summer. It's definitely summer and weekend. And
yeah. And so this place has really expanded from tourism. There is so much tourism here. For good reason. It's a nifty place. Yeah. But it can get crowded, like that Slide Rock. I mean, there's no, like, I'm just going to go on Slide Rock. Not if you're not willing to wait in a long line. Yeah. So, anyway.
But if you ever have the opportunity, maybe it's off season, you just want to go see it, or you really like cold water and you want to experience in the off season, go for it. You'd probably be able to get right in, and it's something to see. It's
I wanted to try it. I was really looking forward to it, but oh well.
Yeah, well, maybe next time.
Yeah. Sedona used to be an apple growing region, so you learned.
I learned today that Cowboy Bob said apples and peaches.
Interesting.
Plus cattle. There's not huge cattle, but enough cattle for the locals. Baby cows. Yeah, little baby cows. Enough cattle for the locals to, take advantage of the beef locally.
Yeah, that makes sense. But anyway, Sedona Heritage Museum is kind of an old apple farm, and it's got the barn and a bunch of old farm vehicles and stuff. That's pretty cool. And we learned about that on that Red Rock
when we went on the Red Rock Trolley. That's right. The other night we walked. We did not walk. We drove up to the airport and to experience the sunset. There is the sunset is great because it's right over one of these beautiful rock formations, and the airport's kind of at the top of the hill. So you have a great kind of viewpoint. You can stand, and the airport's there, and there's a big parking lot, but then there's also like a viewpoint. And so we were, you park in the parking lot, we walk back over to the viewpoint, and we all stood there with thousands of people waiting for that sunset to get our Instagram shots. And and it was really pretty. It was fun. There was a decent cloud cover. It wasn't over cloudy, but up high there were clouds. So, when the sun goes down, it was reflecting off all the clouds, and it's really pretty. And really nice. Also, maybe we were standing on a vortex. I'm not sure. There's supposed to be one somewhere up there. My phone came back charged. I don't know. So that is something to put on your list when it's not a cloudy day.
Well, I mean, it's just cool to go up there.
Yeah.
When I was at the airport last, there was some dude up there with a didgeridoo.
Yeah.
So I really liked that.
Yeah, it kind of is a little party, but when we were there, it was just, just people looking. But sometimes it's people playing instruments or busking or whatever, and just hanging out up there.
Yeah, because this is such an artist community, and some come for the vortices or vortexes, some come just because it's flippin' beautiful here.
Yeah.
So for whatever reason, there are a lot of not just visual artists like painters and sculptors and that, but musicians up here too. And because of that, there's a lot of times there's just somebody playing on the side of the street. I mean, very talented or unusual, like didgeridoos. At that Plaque, there was a dude with a 12-string guitar up. Well, I'm not sure if it was a guitar. I don't know what
that was. It was so interesting. It was like a guitar, and it had 12 strings, but there was like an upper neck, but it wasn't a straight neck. It was like a swooping,
it was really interesting,
neck looking thing. So I don't know.
And he was really good at it.
Yeah.
So. Well, the last thing that we can say is the geology here is really, really, really unusual.
Yeah.
And Peggy, being a geologist, that's one of the reasons she digs it, I assume.
Yeah.
And so the goal, by the time you watch or read this or hear this,
by the time you see or hear this, there should be a new entry in the RVing Geologist. And it'll be not the RV, it'll be the geology of Sedona.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So look for that at our home on the web at StressLessCamping.com. And have you been here? What do you like about this area? If you have, what do you not like?
Yeah.
You can share that. So moving on, I want to just thank a lot of people have been buying things on Amazon lately through StressLess Camping. And the way you do that, if you're watching the podcast on YouTube, I'll put a link down below to our Amazon store. If you are looking through our website, which we encourage you to do, if there's a product that we like, we put a link to Amazon. Right. And if you buy through any of those links, we get a teeny tiny piece of thank you change from Mr. Bezos himself.
Right.
Well, maybe
he tosses a penny in our hat.
Yeah, we're busking for.
We're busking.
So if you shop on Amazon, if you click on our website, on our link first, then it says, hey, these people sent us to Amazon, and good old Jeff, man, he throws us a penny or two.
He's a good guy.
But you know what? It's like raindrops. Every little penny adds up, and this has been a very solid month of pennies. So.
And it also makes us happy that we feel like if you are buying the things that we recommend through Amazon, we feel really good, because if we don't like them or don't trust them or use them ourselves, we're not recommending them. So when we say, everybody should have a good set of wheel chocks, not those plastic garbage wheel chocks. And we know that you bought wheel chocks on Amazon. We know you're safer. We're happy. We're not only happy because we got that penny in our hat. We're happy because we know you're safer now.
Right. We don't ever recommend anything or share anything that we wouldn't buy ourselves or haven't bought ourselves. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of our way of doing things. It's not everybody does it that way, but we feel that's how ultimately our service is to you, the people who watch or listen to or read the things that we produce. So we try to have good service to you. And so, based on last month, I guess we must.
So
I need some broccoli salad.
I also haven't made every recipe that's on our website, but this week's recipe does not start with someone else's name, because it's actually my own recipe. Well, technically I should thank my sister Kathy, because she and I kind of collaborated on what I should get. But anyway, we made broccoli salad at one of our family dinners, and I shared that recipe with you. I mean, yeah, this is going to be Thursday, so I will have shared it. I'm going to do that immediately when we're done recording.
I ate a lot. It was quite good.
It's really good broccoli salad, and it's, broccoli salad is good. It's crisp and it's cool and refreshing and it's healthy, and so anyway,
and it has bacon.
And it has bacon in it. How could you go wrong?
And this was something, if you, as an RVer, you don't want to mess up the kitchen all the time, especially in summer cooking. Right. So honestly, the bacon we brought was bacon we had made at home.
Yeah, we had already cooked it and put it in a thing in the refrigerator. Actually, we froze it, kind of on accident, but
yeah.
Anyway, just, you can pre-do the broccoli you can pre-cook the bacon, and you can also, to make it easier when you're RVing, you can buy like packages of bacon broccoli.
We're focused on bacon.
You can pre-cook the bacon, and you can buy pre-packaged broccoli that you don't have to cut up and clean and all that if you buy a whole head. So anyway, I put all those kind of tips into the recipe. So if you're making it at home, you got all the room and time and space you need, you can do it the hard way. Or if you're in the RV, you can do it the shortcut way.
I would say this is a crowd pleaser, but I don't know if everyone likes broccoli, but I know I do.
I'm going to tell you that I thought we didn't have enough.
We made a pretty big
everybody
amount,
that has
and
been,
it was...
everybody that has been making dishes has had tons of leftovers. And I honestly thought, if you don't have leftovers, that means there wasn't too much. And that means someone might have not gotten enough. But everybody seemed to get enough. We kind of talked my dad into eating the last of the salad right out of the bowl. And so it got eaten. And so it seemed to please the crowd just fine.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. But yeah, there you go. Well, one of the things that is, speaking of being in an RV and potentially space constrained, so this week it was the Aeon RV, and this is an unusual all-wheel drive designed by a guy who was renting RVs to go off-gridding, and he's like, these things all have issues. And so he designed his own. They only make like 50 or 60 of these things a year, but they're very differently built and really well thought through. So these are overlanding rigs. It's a small class B or B plus that has no slides, and it's got a huge storage bay in the back. So if you're familiar with the Winnebago Echo, this would be a competitor to that.
Okay.
But I like this even better because it's even better thought out than the Echo. And part of the reason is the bathroom. And you have to see the article. I'll put a link in the show notes. But the bathroom is in the entryway, which sounds like a terrible idea until you look at it. To me. Like I'm telling Peggy, I'm like, if I were to buy a Class B, I'd buy this one. And I'm trying to explain, but without seeing it, it doesn't make sense. But it's nice because I guess the guy who designed it likes to ski and do a lot of that kind of thing. So you could put your boots and such in the bathroom so they drain. And it's like a teak floor as you walk in. And then there's a compost. Oh, somebody wrote as a comment, $200,000 in a composting toilet? No way. If I built an RV, I would absolutely want a composting toilet. Anyway, lots of different ways of thinking with this thing, but really, I think very well thought through. Put a link in the show notes and you can check it out. I suspect you're either going to really like it or really not.
No middle ground on that one.
Nope.
Huh? Hey, also, there's no middle ground on this one.
Nope.
We have said it before. We will say it again. We're saying it right now. Your awning does not belong out when there's a breeze. Your awning does not belong out if you're not sitting under it.
Well, what prompted this is there were people who were talking about staking their awning down. And you have to think it's basically a giant sail, just like on a sailboat. Mm-hmm. And if the wind comes, it's going to pull it. And it's going to look for the path of least resistance, right? And if that path of least resistance is the screws in the side of your plastic RV, guess what's going to happen?
Right, so if you stake it down really, really well, then what's going to break is it's going to tear off of your RV.
Right.
Instead of tearing out of the ground. So
basically, as we've said often, if you're not under it, it should be closed.
Yeah.
That's just and gosh, we would get people at the dealership who were like, "Oh, I need to file a warranty claim." No, you need to file an insurance claim.
Yeah. That's not a warranty item. They didn't make it to be.
Right. So this week we have a question of the week.
We do have a question of the week. And it's one of those things I couldn't really summarize, right? Because the question was, that's not the question. There it is. The question was, what are your favorite snacks or food that you like to eat when you're on the road? With a subheading, do your snacks look like an unsupervised 9-year-old was set loose in the store? I love seeing those memes with a $100 bill. I forgot to write that. So anyway, oh, come on now. Don't mess with me. So I'm just going to look for answers real fast. M&M's, coffee, caramel cold brew M&Ms, beef jerky, potato chips. That way, by the way, you have a meat and potatoes meal.
Oh, well, yeah. That's a balanced meal.
Fruit until you notice the Cheetos, and then it's Cheetos and Diet Dr. Pepper. And Bugles. Oh, I love Bugles. Donuts, Doritos, and Dr. Pepper. That's the 3Ds. That's Bill's 3Ds. Way too much junk food. Chicken salad sandwich. Oh, Brenda, that's so healthy. Sunflower seeds, but not in bear country.
Yeah. Wendy, I think, didn't Wendy post that?
That was Diane, actually.
Diane, okay.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. We like to eat healthy, like apples and nuts, so we don't get sleepy. My sister likes beef jerky, Starburst, and something crunchy. Wendy eats spice drops. And Tom eats cheese puffs and Mountain Dew. Gary had to go and remind me about Dot's honey mustard pretzels.
Oh, yeah.
And also, by the way, cinnamon sugar pretzels.
Oh,
which
those are
Paul
good.
and Cindy have given us both of those, and we can't buy those. That's not really good for us to do. Let's see. If you go to Buc-ee's, of course, you have to get beaver nuggets and jerky. Let's see, a 6-pack of Oreos and a 12-ounce can of Dr. Pepper. And she said it's kind of hard to find those small things. And I wondered if she's only driving for like 3 miles. Because that's how longer that would last me. Trail mix with raisins, peanuts, cashews, and M&Ms. Texas Heat from H-E-B. Texas Heat trail mix. I guess it must be spicy, right? Chex Mix, Jelly Bellies, soft-boiled eggs, chips or popcorn, beef sticks, jerky. They all sound really good. Cinnamon bears and cheddar-filled pretzel combos and mini Oreos.
I'm so proud of all of you for the volume of junk food that you are our people. I have to tell you.
One of the great things about being with this family on these trips is at least 2 people always bring those peanut butter filled pretzels.
Oh my gosh.
And I eat my weight in peanut butter filled pretzels.
In fact, earlier when you were on the Jeep tour, I brought laundry soap to your mom.
Yeah.
And I grabbed a handful as my payment.
Yeah.
So I, as much as I'm going to say, so we were at Costco the other day, and I had to wait in line for something, and it's over by the health food section.
Oh, right.
And hang on, I'm going to get them. Okay, I'm back with this. So, what?
I'm laughing.
Oh, so as much as I'm proud of you with all of the junk food, I found this at Costco, which is basically kind of freeze-dried fruit.
Is it even freeze-dried? I just thought it was like,
I don't know,
squeezed.
Maybe it's compressed, and it's compressed.
Yeah.
And
it's just
fruit jerky. So I was like, ooh, that sounds like a good thing to have with beef jerky and cheese, right? You have meat, cheese, and dessert. And they claim in the package that this thing here is half an entire pineapple. So however they're compressing it, whatever steamroller they're using to make these, they're solely organic fruit jerky. Not something you would ever expect for me to recommend, but just one ingredient. But truthfully, they're really good.
They're really good, and they're not like gummy, like fruit roll up, and they're not.
Yeah, they're a little bit.
They're not
chewy.
As dry as beef jerky, but they're chewy and kind of. You know the word beefy, right? I don't mean they taste like beef. I mean they have that nice chewiness to them.
Yeah,
nice
so there's mango and pineapple in the package, and I like them.
Yeah.
So I'm going to eat one as soon as we're done recording.
All right.
I picked a mango. So we're going to leave that snacks question.
Yeah, we're going to leave that up there because I want more ideas.
And maybe I'll review my...
There you go.
My
put your fruit jerky snack
thing
up there.
And you can answer
So,
that.
yeah, keep on answering that question of the week at our Fun and Friendly Stressless Campers Facebook group.
Yep. And did you know we do a once-a-week newsletter, which is absolutely free, and it has links to the stories, videos, podcasts, and all of that to help you get the most out of your RV adventure.
Just visit the website, and you can sign up for the newsletter. It'll pop up the first time you're there if you haven't been there before, and then it's at the bottom of every page to make it really super easy for you.
And know that we are lazy, so we only send one email per week.
We don't share your information.
Gosh, no.
We don't give it away. We just use it to contact you once a week.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So you'll also find the show notes for this episode 262.
Woo, 262.
Right, yeah. On the podcast page at StressLessCamping.com. I didn't fill that out.
Yeah, that's okay. Also at StressLessCamping.com, you can find our deals and discounts page and our Amazon link.
Yep.
And we really appreciate when you use those links because... Again, we're happy that you get some good quality stuff. We're happy that you get some discounts. We're also happy that people let us know that you're listening and doing what we recommend.
Of course, we're in all the social places, but start at StressLessCamping.com, and once you're bored there, which I hope takes a while, you can visit all the Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Threads, X, Reddit.
Are you almost out? I don't even know.
I think so. Anyway.
But if you don't want to miss a future episode of the Stressless Camping Podcast,
we're saving you a seat around our...
It's free.
Oh. Wait. Yeah, well, it is. It's free.
It's free to subscribe on any podcast catcher. And we are saving you a seat around our virtual campfire.
And don't forget that a review will let others know about the Stressless Camping Podcast, and that always helps us to get better deals and discounts for you, and just helps our little podcast grow. It's been almost 5 years now.
Almost 5 years. We surely appreciate the reviews, and we also appreciate the shares, and we really love it that we see people sharing our posts and our articles. And if you see a question on Facebook and you say, Stressless Camping wrote an article about that, go ahead, get a link, and share it with whoever asked the question and help them find out about the answers as well.
Absolutely. Well, with that, we want to thank you for being here with us in Sedona, even though it was virtual for you, but it was real for us. Or maybe you were here and you're like, they were there. But anyway, thank you so much once again for joining us, and
Stressless Camping.